Morning guys, hope you're all well. Today I'm going to have another bit of a day in the man cave. As you can see, I'm repping the pedal apparel shirt that Keith Moon kindly hooked me up with. Really comfy shirts, quite neat little features on them, little pedal on the arm, nice little piece down here somewhere, logo on the back and the front, quite good for general sort of wearing or riding shirts. The material's quite technical, so I guess it would wick the sweat away quite well. Quite loose fitting, so certainly works for me. But go and check them out, Pedal Apparel, on Facebook and online, and see if Keith Moon can sort you out with a nice couple of shirts. He's got some new designs coming through which look pretty cool too, so check them out. Anyway, as I said, today, bit of a day in the man cave. Last weekend I stripped the bike down completely and dropped the motor out, gave it a good deep clean, re-greased everything ready for the winter, and I've got a bit more work to do today. I've got new wheels arrived, or rather a new rear wheel, 27.5 to match the 29er pair that I've got, the DT Swiss, and I need to do the Tubeless Michelin E-Wild tyre onto that, set that up, and we'll put that on the bike. Finish prepping the bike for winter, and I'll go through a bit later in this video. I'll go through a bit of an overview of what I've done for the winter. So yeah, so we'll crack on, and I'll get back to you in a bit and show you what we've done. Cheers. So as I say, first things first, I've been running these DT Swiss H1700 hybrid wheels on probably the last, well, certainly this bike since it was new. I've had Hope wheels before, so I bought a pair of 29er wheels. I'm not that keen on the Roval wheels that it comes with, and I went for the DT Swiss. I thought they were probably the next step up from Hope wheels, to be honest with you. So I went for a set of 30mm wide wheels that I set up as 29er, and I've been running on the bike for most of the time, and every now and again I've been trying my Hope 27.5 rear wheel in to see whether hybrid works, and I quite like it. So I ordered the 27.5 version of the same wheels. I'm a little bit anal like that. I don't like having mixed wheels. I like them to look like they were intended to. But what I've done for the rear is I've gone for the 35mm wide one. Give a little bit more width to the rim, give the tyre a better pattern as it sits on the ground, and again, I'm a bit of a fan of these, but the Michelin E-Wild tyres. So as you can see, the 2.6 E-Wilds. I wanted to set the wheel up so that I've got them directly as spares, so I've got a spare Hope rotor, managed to get a speed sensor magnet, so I can set this wheel up, run it on the bike, but have the 29er wheel in the sidelines or in the van, and switch between the two if necessary, or if we go somewhere, get a puncture, maybe do more of a trail ride than some technical tight turny stuff. I can just flip the wheels over without changing anything and they'll go straight on. I'd hoped to get the cassette here in time for today, but it hasn't arrived yet. It should be here in the week, but this cassette's pretty new. I've only fairly recently switched to Shimano and put a 12-speed cassette on, so I know that's in good nick. So I shall put that on the wheel. So we'll just set these up as tubeless now. I've got some PT sealant. The wheels actually come with a valve anyway, but quite nicely DT Swiss do a nice neat tubeless rim tape all ready to go, so should be fairly straightforward. So we'll ping the tyre on, set up the rotor, and I'll nick the cassette off the other wheel, and we'll finish the bike off. I'll give you a quick overview then of the bike in its winter trim, what I've done. Might even go through the stuff that I carry on the bike. A few people have asked about that, so I generally carry the tools that I'd need in that little pretend water bottle, so I haven't got to carry anything in the pack, and keep the pack for sort of winter gear. So I'll get the bike done, put the 27.5 on, wheel the bike out, and then I'll give you a walkthrough on what we've done to it, ready for the winter. Okay. Okay, so that's the tyre on, sealant in. Quite a bit harder to get on than the last couple I've done. Whether that's the tyre being a bit cold or rim being a bit bigger or what, I don't know. But it was certainly as hard as some trials tyres that I've put on in the past. But we're on, sealant in. Just going to blow it up now. Hopefully it'll seat on the bead and won't leak air everywhere. Nice to have compressor set up, so it should hopefully pop on the bead. Yeah, all good. That's the first time I've done tubeless that way. I normally put the tyre on, remove the valve insert and put the sealant in through the valve, but I've seen people doing it with just dropping the sealant into the tyre, then putting it on, and then just fingers crossed going for it and hope it pops on the bead, and that's worked pretty well. So certainly a lot quicker. And tyre on. So now just put the rotor on and the cassette and we drop it into the bike. Right, so I mentioned earlier that on the bike I carry a false water bottle with tools in. Main reason for that is I don't really like carrying extra weight on my back with the pack. Saves having to keep thinking about what kit I've got in there, and I'd just rather use it for a bit of hydration and some extra clothes just in case. So I'd just like to show you what I carry in that little bottle, because I keep seeing some stuff on Facebook and on the relevant channels, and so people asking whether you should take this, whether you should take that, what do you take? So I thought I'd just quickly show you what's in the bottle. So here's the bottle, normal water bottle type thing, made by Specialized, and instead of having the drinking piece on the top, it's got this screw on top. It's got a little thing on the top here inside. I guess it's for keeping stuff dry or whatever. I usually carry a couple of pound coins in there, mainly just so that if I forget my wallet, at least I can get a coffee or something when we're out and about, or know I've got some change. So yeah, normal size bottle, and this is what I carry in there. So starting here, toe peak multi-tool. Tried a few different multi-tools over the years. I quite like this one. It's got a couple of tyre levers. It's got a good chain device, a good chain splitter. All the tools you need, a couple of screwdrivers, got a Torx bit in there. So it's got pretty much everything you want. I do carry a SWAT tool on the bike, and that's really good for quick emergency maintenance, but the multi-tool does a bit of a better job, I think. This, I don't know whether you know this, but on the SWAT tool there is actually a chain device on there, a chain splitter, but the longer head tube, especially with some spacers, they don't make the bolt with this little pin on the end to use for the chain splitter. They don't make one long enough. So I use the longer one on the bike, and then I carry this as a spare, just so that if I need to use the chain tool, I can actually use it with the SWAT tool. So that's that. Here I've got the dyno plug kit for repairing the tyre on Tubeless. Essentially what you do is you pull out one of these. If you've got a hole that's not sealing with sealant, you push that brass end in through the hole in the tyre, and when you pull it back out, it leaves a rubber grommet inside the tyre and blocks some of the hole up. You then use the little knife that's located in there and cut off the surplus rubber and blow the tyre up again, and you should be good to go. It helps seal quite a big hole. I mean, as you can see, the biggest one is that size, so that would probably seal quite a good size hole, certainly in the sidewall. So that saves carrying a tube. I've then got a couple of gas canisters and a valve insert to use with the canisters. I also carry a couple of these glue-on super patches by Park Tool. Just again, if I've got a really big slash in the side and I need to get back to the van, I could at least whack a few of those on and help seal some of the hole. The Park Tool valve key, again, I've had occasions in the past where I've had the inside of the valve break or come out, and trying to get it back in with no tools is a pain in the arse. So I carry one of those. It doesn't take up much space and it's worth carrying. I also carry a spare insert, which I haven't got at the moment because I just used it, and I carry a couple of 12-speed fast links. Cloth is just stops the rattling in the bottle, but also quite good to just clean things off if you've got to work on the bike and it's filthy. So that's what I carry there. The only other tool really that I find useful, which I keep in the pack on my backpack because it's a little bit big, is I carry a spare one of these, which whilst it seems a bit overkill, if ever you've tried to get one of these split links off and you haven't got anything to split the chain, it can be a bit of a pain. It is doable. I know people do it with a couple of rocks and you can push down on one side of the chain and get it off, but if you've got the right tool, it's seconds. So I carry one of those, a spare, inside my rucksack, just in case. It certainly means you can get back on the trail quickly. So that's me. That's what I carry in there. Hope that's been of use. As I say, I use the pack really for water and for spare clothes, so it just puts a bit of weight on the bike, which at the end of the day it's an e-bike, so I don't really mind it being a bit extra heavy or extra weight carried on the bike. It's not a big deal. Certainly better than being on my back, and I know then when I've got my fake bottle with me, I've got all the tools I need for the trip I'm on. Hope that helps. Okay, so the new wheels in the back, and you can see how it looks now with the 27.5 on the rear and 29 on the front in mullet setup. Don't think it really looks that obvious, to be honest with you. The wheel is a bit smaller, as you can see, but on that 35mm rim, it actually gives quite a wide sort of stance on the tyre, and still gives plenty of clearance. So there's loads of clearance around here, which I quite like. So set up for winter then. Usually I run the Fox Shorty mudguard on the front, but for the winter I generally go back to using the RRP Pro Guard, which is a bit longer. Certainly stops all the crap coming up both into your face and also up into here, and stops all this getting all shitty around here. So that's fairly straightforward. I don't like having to use cable ties, but the Pro Guard that screws onto the older type Fox forks doesn't fit the new Fox 36 for 2021, so I've had to go back to the old style one. No big deal there. When I stripped it all down last week, everything got re-greased, motor got blown out, so that's all clean. All the bolts re-greased or mounting paste put on them all, so they're all torqued up and set up pretty good for winter. At least I know it's all been cleaned and greased, so nothing's going rusty or no crap's been getting in. The rear shock has recently been off. As you can see, these two washers that have been put on the EXT shock, the plan is that you don't actually put much tension on the spring, so it's not really pre-tensioned. Therefore, when you unweight the shock or compress it hard, quite often it can rattle against the stops. So these just stop that and let us get back to a silent running bike, which is working well. The other thing, obviously, the rear mudguard. I'm sure there'll be comments about how ugly it looks, and I can't disagree, but it works really well. You'll see that down here I've overdone it on the tape, but I hate the idea of it scratching the frame and making it look crap. So what I do is I put some helicopter tape down. I then put a piece of inner tube, and then I tape the inner tube over the top with Gorilla Tape and finish it off with insulation tape, and then use all of the cable tie mounts so it's really secure. It's certainly not going anywhere. And what I found was, when I put it on, the Psycho MTB mudguards, the Simon Coventry ones, they work really well on the Levo. It's a two-piece that overlaps each other, as you can see. So when I fitted this, or when I offered it up, I could see that the top part of the Psycho one actually fitted inside there really neatly. So I've left it in place, and I've put some tape between the two. So I've actually made a real full mudguard that starts here and goes right the way around, and I think it will do quite a good job of stopping the crap through the whole of the winter. As you can see, I've gone for the extra long one, and I like the idea of the fact that it actually sits, you know, quite a long way back, so the mud that's going to come up here gets stopped, and you generally, for the whole of the winter, you ride with a dry arse and no mud all at the back of you, no mud getting into the seat and into the dropper, especially with the AXS dropper post, which I've spent a lot of money on and want to look after. So I think it'll do a good job for the winter. We've obviously got new rubber on, new brake pads in the front and the rear, and everything else sorted up for winter. So I think we're good to go. Right, guys. So that's me for this morning's shed time. Going out riding tomorrow morning, so might put a bit of video on from that. Obviously we're in lockdown, so it'll probably be a solo ride. I live quite near the Malvern Hills, so I think I'm going to go off over there in the morning fairly early. Looks like it's going to be a bit misty, so perhaps there'll be less walkers over there than normal. Hope you like the video. If you do, give me a thumbs up, subscribe and all that. Always helps. But really I'm doing this for my own interest, and just to keep a record of different rides that I do and what goes on. But if it's of use or of help, then I'm glad it's proved that way. And yeah, just give us a thumbs up, and leave me a comment if there's anything you want me to do a video on. Cheers now, see ya.